like I said, realistically, Germany or Hitler was trying to do the same thing that the American Congress is trying to do. And maybe even the board members of Rome were trying to do the same thing that basically Congress or Hitler is trying to do, which is basically, Hitler was trying to say, or Germany was trying to say, that they owned everything, blah, 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 that I owned, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, but using Germany, I actually did buy quite a bit of stuff. And the Germans were just doing things on my behalf. Like I said, in the old days, basically, German scientists would be sent out to a mine to teach people how to use the nitroglycerin and the explosives safely, and how to use it. And in the old days, you had to mix the nitroglycerin, and within a few minutes or a few hours, you generally wanted to use the nitroglycerin after you mix it, because it would usually destabilize and explode. It was a very, 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 very unstable explosive, and kind of dangerous to use, really. It was years later that the scientists or the people actually made safe dynamite. Or, I had TNT. One was gunpowder, and basically, or gunpowder ammonium nitrate, or gunpowder basically, and one was pretty much. I think maybe they used what's it called. Anyway, the TNT didn't work out so well. It wasn't all that big of an explosive, but the nitroglycerin was, of course, and that's why you have dynamite and TNT. And I made them both. I made both dynamite and TNT, and I kind of had to, because the battleships used the TNT, or the basically ammonium nitrate and basically gunpowder, and that's what those big bins are, with the big cones and everything like that. When they walk into that one explosives or gunpowder manufacturing complex that's abandoned now, you walk in, and what that cone is basically, that's where the gunpowder would trickle down and come down, and then they would mix in, and then the ammonium nitrate would also be drizzled down in there, or just poured down in there. So they'd be dumping ammonium nitrate and gunpowder all at the same time to get this nice even mix of ammonium nitrate and gunpowder throughout the cone. I mean the what's it called. And then at the bottom you had to shoot, and you'd pull the lever and fill up the bag, and then tie it off, and then roll it out, and then transport it to the battleships and stuff like that. And that was for the battleships. That's why that complex is over there, and that's what those they're like silos kind of things, and then they have this big cone at the top, basically, or this cone at the top, and that's for the gunpowder and the ammonium nitrate to all be mixed in together, because it goes in at the same time, and it creates like these particles per million or whatever, and then you pour it off the bottom, and mix all, and that's for the sacks, and then you take the sack and you pack it or whatever. And we were doing different things. I think maybe vacuuming, sealing the packs or something like that to get them tight. But you don't want them too tight. You want them just tight enough or something like that. And that's also why we had the sacks too, because you want it to be a certain amount of packed for the battleship. Because too packed or too loose, blah blah blah. You want an even packing, and that also works with because you don't want erratic shots. You want the shots to be explosive to be exactly what you plan it to be, to get those shots out exactly the right spot. Otherwise, you're shooting all over the place. It's too far, too close, So yeah, and that was all part of Lucifer Star. Me is my gunpowder packing plant. And it's like, well, I don't use battleships anymore. I used to use them mostly for mining and mostly for doing blasting work on mountaintops and stuff like that. And there's still some of my mountaintops where they took a cannon and they were blasting at the mountaintop. And you can still see all the holes where they were blasting. They send the shell into the hole. Boom, boom, boom. Great big rock face. And I forget how we got the rock face. We might have dynamited or exploded or something like that. The dirt off or something like that. Because there's always dirt or something, and then there's this big rock face, and they're going... And they were messing. I think that was one of my old gunpowder test sites or something like that, where they're like, boom, boom. For the most part, we just played with gunpowder and played with explosives and stuff like that, and it wasn't really a big deal. I mean, it wasn't until they tried to kill me, or they were trying to whatever, like this and that, and it's like, well, first of all, I usually use them for construction, but if you're going to make it like that, then I got them. And second of all, but I think somebody might have been misusing them or something like that before I actually was like, well, they're all my ships, so. You know, and I think I might have even told the Irishman, well, actually, the Germans built those ships, and they're my ships, basically. And so, you know, and they're for the use of my people and basically for protecting peace and freedom. So, you know, and all that. So anyway, like I said, I built those battleships. The SS Rodney, I commissioned the SS Rodney. That's why I named it. That's why it's named the Rodney, which they later on renamed the Nelson class, was because I commissioned it. It was my ship. I owned it. I didn't just take it over like everybody else. I actually built it. And I built lots of ships. Like the Leviathan, the Lusitania. You know, they were my ships. It was my steel. So, yeah. That's why I know about the design of them. That's how I also know about the design of all those cities, because I was epic city builder, and I built all these epic buildings and stuff like that. And that's how I know about all this stuff. That's how I know about the Colosseum and stuff. The most they could do was kind of like eliminate my memories or try and make me not know about it. So, yeah. You know, and it was basically just Rodney trying to pretend, and Rodney would just hear things from me or just know about things from me, and then he would run off to the people. You know, just like whatever, and kind of like what JFK was doing, except JFK was just going around saying blah 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 blah. Oh, we're doing things in the Middle East. Oh, we're doing things in what's it called, you know, and Germany was probably more successful with that because they actually had the films and the videos or something like that. Yeah, crazy, just plain crazy. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's not popular belief. It's not popular opinion. It's not the stupid book that you write and go, oh, we're here for that. Where's that Bible? Somewhere around here. I had a Bible around here somewhere. Is that it? No, that's it right there. Yeah, it's not a... Like, this book used to actually make sense. And it actually used to be about something. The Holy Bible. Briandable. The briandable? The Holy Briandable, you mean? But seriously, it's I like that, the Holy Briandable. But even the Holy Bible, I had hotels and everything else like that. So I was having a Holy Bible or whatever, and it was supposed to be just